There's a solid chance you've been paying your credit card in full every single month, on time, every time, and your credit score is still getting dinged for high balances. Not because you're doing anything wrong, because nobody ever explained how the timing actually works. If you're new here, I'm Stickman Dad. I go over the stuff someone probably should have sat you down and explained a long time ago, but never did. Today, it's credit scores. Everyone knows credit scores matter. Most people know the basics. Pay on time. Don't max out your cards. But there's a whole layer underneath that almost nobody explains. And it's the layer quietly costing people points, messing up loan applications, and making the whole system feel completely random when it isn't. Today, we're fixing that. We're going through the stuff that actually trips people up. Not the obvious basics, but the hidden mechanics most people only find out about the hard way. And I'll save the biggest one for last because it's the one almost nobody realizes is happening to them. Let's start with the biggest assumption most people walk in with, because it breaks immediately once you know the truth. You don't have a credit score. You have dozens of them. There are 9 FICO versions, 2 VantageScore versions, and several mortgage-only versions in active use, all scoring the exact same file differently. The number your bank shows you in their app might be a VantageScore. The number a mortgage lender pulls is probably an older FICO model built specifically for that industry, and those two numbers can be meaningfully different, sometimes by dozens of points. That's not a glitch. That's the system working exactly as designed. The problem is nobody tells you which version is being used or when. It gets more interesting from there. The 3 credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, don't all have the same information about you. Lenders can choose to report to all 3, just 1 or 2, or none at all. So your real score on any given day depends on which bureau gets pulled, which scoring model that lender happens to use, and what data was actually reported to that bureau at that moment. 3 moving parts, none of which you control, all of which shape the outcome. This is why getting approved for one card and denied for another, seemingly identical one, can feel completely random. It's not you, it's which version of your file got looked at. Now here's the one I really want you to pay attention to, because this is the trap that catches the most responsible people, the ones actually doing everything right. Even if you pay off your credit cards every month, a high utilization ratio can still hurt your score. Here's why. The bureaus don't see what you pay. They see a snapshot, and that snapshot is taken on your statement date, not your due date. Card issuers typically report your balance at the end of your statement period, which is often about 3 weeks before your bill is even due. So say you spend $2,000 on a card with a $3,000 limit, then pay it off in full on the due date. Like a responsible person. Doesn't matter. The bureau already took its picture weeks earlier. It already recorded 67% utilization. That's what's sitting on your report. You paid it off. They don't care. The snapshot already happened. The fix is simple once you know about it. Pay your balance down before your statement closes, not after, or make a mid-cycle payment. That way, when the bureau takes its picture, it sees a low balance, and your score reflects that. Same spending, same card, same habits, just a different day of the month, and it can move your score meaningfully. Here's another one that catches people off guard in the completely opposite direction: what you close. Closing a paid-off credit card can actually hurt your score because it affects your utilization ratio and shortens the average age of your accounts. But here's the part almost every piece of advice out there misses. This only applies to revolving accounts like credit cards. Installment loans, car loans for example, don't carry the same penalty. Revolving accounts don't have a fixed number of payments. Installment loans do. So when you pay off your car loan, that account just closes out and gets marked paid, and your score barely notices. But close an old credit card, especially one that's been open for years, and you can lose ground on 2 fronts at once. So the real rule isn't never close anything. It's much more specific. Don't close old revolving accounts. Installment loans are basically fair game. Now back to that big one from the very beginning, the one for people who aren't even in the system yet. Some people can't get scored by any model at all. They're called credit invisible, meaning You can have zero debt, never miss a single payment on anything, manage your money perfectly, and still functionally not exist to a lender. No score, no approval, no explanation given. You just get a rejection letter and the system moves on. The system requires you to have already used credit in order to get credit. A strange loop that nobody helps you out of unless someone actually explains it to you. Related to that, years of paying rent and utilities on time typically don't show up on your credit report at all, not automatically. Most landlords simply don't report payment history to the bureaus. There are services that let you opt in and self-report that history, but if you don't know those services exist, years of flawless payment behavior just quietly disappears into the void. This system doesn't reward good behavior by default. It only rewards good behavior that happens to get recorded in the right place at the right time. One more, and this one comes up a lot for couples: the fear that your partner's bad credit will somehow drag down yours. It won't, and it structurally can't. The information on your credit report relates to you personally, not your partner, your relatives, or your former roommates. Living together doesn't merge your scores. Getting married doesn't merge your scores. The only time someone else's credit history touches yours at all is if you apply for a joint account together, and even then it's the shared account that matters, not the relationship status itself. There's actually a fascinating footnote to this one. A Federal Reserve study tracked couples over 15 years and found that partners with similarly matched credit scores at the start of their relationship were more likely to stay together long term, not because a credit score predicts love, but because the habits and values behind those numbers seem to say something real about how two people handle money. Your scores never merge, but apparently they tell a story about compatibility that matters more than most people would guess. So here's what actually changed for you today. You don't have one credit score, you have dozens, and which one gets pulled depends entirely on the lender and the bureau. Your balance gets reported on your statement date, not your due date, so timing matters more than the amount you eventually pay. Closing a revolving account can hurt you. Closing an installment loan mostly won't. And years of on-time rent and utility payments are invisible to your score unless you take active steps to get them reported. The system isn't random, it just runs on rules that nobody bothers to explain. Now you know them. Drop a comment telling me which one surprised you the most. My guess is the statement date trick. That one gets almost everyone. And if you know someone who's been doing everything right and still can't figure out why their score isn't moving, send them this video. That's exactly who it was made for.